Welcome back to Absolutely Marvel in DC. My name is Benny, that is Sal, and that is Hassan. And today on the NPR episode of Absolutely Marvel in DC, we're going to be bringing you our sponsor, GamerSupps. Get yourself a waifu cup or less jockey than its competitor's energy drink today by going to GamerSupps and using the code COMICS at checkout. Today, we've decided that we're going to be talking about The Velma Show, but from a different perspective than everybody else, because we didn't watch The Velma Show.
Yeah.
What we're here to do is talk about why The Velma Show is being touted as the #1 most premiered adult cartoon on HBO Max. And why you people made that happen.
Yes.
Yep. It's a sad, sad world we live in, guys. It's truly heartbreaking.
Yeah. Hey, eat this turd sandwich. Why would I do that? You just described it as a turd sandwich. Well, just eat it anyway. Just eat it. I don't want to eat that. I would never eat a turd sandwich. You need to know how bad it is. Why would I already know. I live and breathe. Why would I ever eat that?
What blows my mind about this is exactly that. We have seen for months that this is not Scooby-Doo. They've taken stabs at the audience. They have made fun of people. I made a whole discussion on the Comics Experiment channel talking about woke marketing. And if anything was obviously woke marketing to just get you to hate watch it, it was these Velma ads.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the background on it is insane because very clearly Mindy Kaling pitched a show that wasn't this at all. She pitched some type of adult, what's that really ugly looking show that's on Netflix now? Nick Kroll makes it. They have the terrible looking little character sprites. It's about teenagers, but it's very sexual. It's very weird. I don't remember what it's called.
Big Mouth.
Big Mouth. Okay. So
I watched like 3 or 4 seasons of that the whole time going, who is this for?
You watched
and
3 or 4 seasons
and I'm
of
like,
that?
why am I still
Benny's
watching
weird.
this?
Benny's so weird like that. He'll watch.
Okay.
He'll hate watch so
No,
much.
I wasn't
stuff.
hate watching Big Mouth. It was one of those shows that Natalie and I would put on when we're half asleep. And like we've already watched Simpsons, we've already watched Family Guy. It's like, let's just put on that stupid Big Mouth show and just let it play in the background while we talk or do other things. And we got like 3 seasons into Big Mouth, and the whole time I'm just like, this isn't terrible, but it's not good, and I don't know who this is for. Like,
Right. So going back to Big Mouth, right? So it's an adult animated whatever show, and then there's Rick and Morty. That's adult animated, maybe a little bit more intelligent, whatever, up until recently. But like, that's the genre. And then Mindy Kaling's like, I want to throw my hat in the ring. I've had some successful shows recently. Pitches to HBO. They're like, we're not interested. And then she's like, well, what if we make it Scooby-Dooby-Doo? It's like, what the fuck? That doesn't.
I like the voice you're putting on.
That's how Mindy Kaling talks. It's everything is stupid that comes out of my mouth. We get it. You wrote some very funny episodes of The Office, and then you decided to degrade brown women because you had a rough childhood. Like, that I want to get into that during this because there's like a legitimate thing that she does. And
It sounds like you've already done it. So let's hear it. Like, just jump in, man.
So I've seen a lot of the clips of the show already of Velma. A lot of times there is this ridiculous marketing shift towards a property, and it's not that, right? Mindy Kaling and the team could have put out a brown Velma, a black Shaggy, a ditzy himbo Fred, or whatever they wanted to do in a very nuanced way and told an interesting story. Here's the origin of the Mystery Inc. I would have loved Mystery Inc., but like gore a little bit. Like it's not just a kid show. It's like a real mystery show starring this cast of characters. It's often been shelved to like a children's, show, whatever.
Yeah, just R-rated Zombie Island. Like
exactly. Yeah, it could have been a lot of fun. So I think some people watched it, and also there's a solidarity behind like brown creatives that like we're gonna watch things that other brown creatives put out because we want to support it, especially if it's good. We want to uplift those voices. So there was a lot of hate surrounding it, right? But then the clips started to come out, and oh my God, it just became caricature levels of embarrassingly bad. Shaggy goes from this hilarious ditzy little stoner, like Scoob, what do we do? Whatever, he's just sitting in the back eating Scooby.
There's not even Scooby. That's the biggest thing that tells you they didn't want to make a Scooby show.
Right.
Well,
The name is Scooby-Doo. It's a dog. Where's the dog?
Yeah. Well, apparently they said like that the rights holders to Scooby-Doo were like, you can't have the dog.
Yeah.
Oh,
because
really?
This is not the show. Like that's a rumor I heard. I don't want to necessarily give that too much fire, but that's what I had heard was that like Scooby-Doo's not in it because I mean, A, they're children and Scooby-Doo would be dead by the time they actually got the van, and B, they didn't want to go. They were like, "There's no way the show survives, and it's not in any way associated. I don't want it associated with my brand."
Yeah. Which
Well, I mean, the name of it is Velma. It's not Mystery Inc.
It's not Mystery Inc. It's not Scooby-Doo. It's not Shaggy.
Well,
it's none of the names that were in any of the Scooby-Doo ancillary properties.
I mean, he's
There's
not
no,
even Shaggy.
there's no
Yeah,
boo ghosts. Yeah.
he's Norville. But you saw a clip of Norville, and he's just this like bumbling idiot, but he's not Shaggy. He's not Shaggy at all. He wears a green shirt. He's not Shaggy even a little bit. You have Daphne, who's now an orphan. Very weird character description for her. And then all
How
of
do
them
you
are
know
like
this much about it? Did you actually watch it? Because
I did a lot. I did research going into it. I was going to cover
I'm
it
actually
later.
asking you. I'm not
No,
like
no,
mocking
I didn't
you. I'm
watch it.
actually
I didn't watch it yet. I watched a couple clips on Twitter, and then I saw like
because that's what
a
I've seen. I've
synopsis
seen the
of it.
clips on the clips when I was looking into research for this real quick, and then I saw the clips for it on the trailers. And that, to me, that was enough for me to be like, I'm not wasting 25 minutes watching.
No,
it.
Same.
Like,
No, absolutely.
And I also think it's like I see people in the comments saying like this is the conclusion of the woke left getting us these TV shows. It's like no, this is a bad show made by people who don't care about a property, and people wouldn't have watched the show had it not had Scooby-Doo in it. People aren't going to watch the show after they're done hate watching it right now.
it's going to be interesting to see if the numbers continue to be these gangbuster numbers, which I do have some information on. You're going to love where they're getting that number from. But
okay.
Please do share.
Okay,
Tell us
well,
where it's come
tell
from.
us.
Because I've been doing research on this for the last weekend, and I'm doing more here. They're stating that it is the most watched adult show premiered. What's the exact wording? Hold on, Velma.
They had to be very specific. They're like, it is the most.
They were very specific, and there's a reason.
It's the most watched adult-oriented animated series based off of a previously established property that premiered on a Sunday.
Yeah. Velma's premiere was HBO's most watched animated series debut ever. Okay. I believe that.
Yeah.
One, to the amount of hate watching it got propped up on.
For
Two,
sure.
no one has to pay for this. You already have HBO Max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind, okay?
We bought
But
it for a year when House of Dragons is around, and now we just have it.
if you actually look at the animated features that are actually on HBO Max,
Yeah.
most of them don't premiere there. It's things like Rick and Morty. That didn't premiere there. That goes to Adult Swim, which then gets cataloged on HBO Max.
Right.
As far as I can tell, the only other, and I've been looking, because they proudly flag products that are made for HBO Max, which is what this is the most watch of. It's literally only Harley Quinn is the other one.
Yeah.
Everything
okay,
else is
Ben.
live action.
Hold on. Take 1 second, Ben. Name another show that's an HBO Max originally premiered there. What's that show's name, Benny? You're not going to disrespect it in death. You're not going to do that.
No.
on.
That's not a Max original. Young Justice is not a Max original.
Seasons 3 and 4 are Max originals.
Yeah,
They're
Are
tabbed
they
defined-
that.
flagged as that though?
Yeah. Yes, they are. For sure they are.
Okay.
Especially 4. Maybe not 3, because 3 was still with DC Universe.
It's,
but by
it's,
then,
oh, the whole
they touted
product
it
is
as part
flagged
of like
as a
Max
original.
Studios.
Okay.
And
So then it's Young Justice, Harley Quinn, and Velma.
yeah, I feel bad.
And you know what I've seen the most promotion for? Maybe there's one or two other ones that we're missing, but the fact of the matter is, we know of at least 3, and the last one we couldn't even remember. Hassan had to come in and save the day in that one.
Yeah, that's true.
The point I'm making is the amount of promotion Velma has gotten from the hate watching, the trailer hate watching, the Twitter mob, the Facebook mob, everyone
The
going
YouTube
crazy.
videos that are basically just
Right.
promos for it at this point. Like if you like, there's there's 2 dozen videos that are like, woke mob, blah blah blah. Velma sucks. Here's a picture of Velma from the trailer of her looking surprised. That's a promo.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like at that point, that's marketing for the show.
It's
I'm gonna
promotion.
look right at Max Originals just to see if there's any more that we're missing. But yeah, what I'm getting at is I actually believe Genlock. Genlock's also on here.
I don't even know what that is.
Exactly.
That is either.
The only one of these that I've named that actually got promotion, because what was our number 1 issue with Young Justice, Hassan? No
get
one
any
knew it
promo.
existed.
If DC Comics fans knew that show existed, they would have watched the ever-loving hell out of it.
Yeah.
Despite all of its issues, the clips of some of the characters, like the Superman clip Benny posted on Twitter, people are like, where can I find this? Where can I find this? Because
Yeah.
it's just Clark being a dork on that show, and it's great. And no one ever saw it. No one ever watched it. The show's canceled, and they'll never bring it back.
So I'm actually in the Max Originals category now, and I'm still finding the only ones flagged as a Max Original that is a cartoon: Genlock, Harley Quinn, and Young Justice.
Yeah.
And Harley Quinn, it technically didn't start there either.
That was DC Universe,
So the question is, are they counting products that started only on Max?
right?
Are they not counting Harley Quinn? It's very easy to say it's the most watched when it's in competition with 3 other ones, 2 of which started elsewhere.
Yeah.
is the point I'm making.
Two of which have an IP, and then they utilize the IP to tell the story and not just use them as character designs. Because
Right.
Young Justice and Harley Quinn, very different interpretations of comic book media, but they both really, really understand the heart and soul of their characters, and they use it going forward. And then there's this show. This show is... There is this very popular thing that Mindy Kaling has done in her media, and I think to some varying degrees of success early on, where she tells this story. She did it on her Netflix show.
I want to throw this out there because I know someone's going to yell at me just while you're doing that real quick.
Do your thing.
Apparently, Adventure Time had a spin-off on here that I didn't even know existed.
Okay.
Yeah, Adventure Time, the movies.
Oh, is that what it is? Either way,
Yeah, they're
that
great.
didn't get up there either.
If you didn't watch that, Benny, you should watch that. It's like a beautiful story. You'll cry. It's wonderful.
I like
it's
crying.
the actual it's the actual ending to the show is in like the 5th episode of that.
Okay.
But yeah, so Mindy Kaling does this thing where there's a lot of. It's been very hard for brown people to grow up in America, specifically brown women. It's just difficult. There's a lot of different nuances and things of how you're picked on and how different it is specifically for those young women. And Mindy Kaling, growing up brown, really capitalized on that storytelling. And I think at first, kind of an interesting way, right? She created this very unlovable brown character on this Netflix show. They had her be ugly and unfashionable and have her parents decide things for her. It was very stereotypical in its writing. And I think it worked originally. Then she did it 3 more times. And by the 3rd time and the 2nd time, they're like, well, we've kind of evolved past this. Society as a whole, we're moving towards, brown women aren't this thing that you're going to poke fun at and call ugly and say, oh, you're all ugly and fat brown girls. Like, that's what Mindy Kaling keeps saying. Like, that's the commentary she makes in all of her shows. And then with Scooby-Doo, she just did that again. And I think that's the discourse that probably is the most upsetting about this one is the countless TikToks I've seen of just young Southeast Asian girls talking about how, great, thank you for portraying us, because there's like literally clips where like, Velma's got hairy arms. Velma's kind of smelly. Velma's a little chubby brown girl, doesn't know how to dress. Like, what's the point of that? And she's leans into it, and she has this like very creepy obsession with like white men stereotypes as well, leading into the exact same thing, because it's like using white men to prop up brown women. It's very weird. And she keeps leaning further into that.
Moist Critical opinion on it, and he talked about like they constantly make jokes about Fred's small penis. Like that's the running gag that the himbo guy's got a small penis.
Oh my God, they do. It was in the description of the show. Fred's got a little secret, and it's even littler than his little wiener. That's like a real thing.
I'm trying to find the show again so I can see.
It's crazy. And Charlie's description of it, I didn't even get to watch that, but Moist Critical has a way with words that I don't think any of us will ever will.
Yeah.
But it's just... It's so upsetting. I love Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo has been great. There was a YouTuber who did a whole retrospective on every Scooby-Doo cartoon over the last like couple years, and it was probably one of the most fun things I've ever watched, because that is just a fond childhood thing. And I'd love to see it brought up into the adult world, not in this gore, over-sexualized, oversaturated genre, but like there are stories that could be told with that cast of characters for us.
Wasn't there an adult Scooby-Doo show, like a fan project?
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure there was, and a lot of people
Hopefully
were like, this
also
is what we
produced
wanted.
by James Gunn.
I mean, James Gunn was making a movie called Scooby-Doo that was originally R-rated, I think, and then they turned it into what it was, which is still a beloved classic that everybody enjoys, or at least 2 of them. They also they canceled the Scoob movie. Like they had that movie Scoob, the CG movie. Apparently they made a sequel and they canceled that one.
Yeah. Which is also weird. Coolsville, someone brought it up. That's what it is. It's a mystery and Catcher in the Sly. No, I don't know what that is. Never mind.
Yeah, and
I also did find one more Max original cartoon show that this was competing with. Did you know that there is a show called Jellystone, which is a Yogi Bear spinoff where they live in a town?
Yes, I remember seeing a picture of it and going, "Well, I'll never see that."
Yeah,
Jellystone.
It's called Jellystone. Yogi Bear and his crew live in a town, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like all the Hanna-Barbera characters are there, and they like interact with each other. It's like that Looney Tunes show where it was like Seinfeld for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that show was funny. That show was weirdly funny, Sal.
Out
of nowhere for no reason was funny.
I'm like, who made this? What? Okay.
I have no idea. There's like an audio that went very viral on TikTok of like Daffy Duck saying, "Your son looks like a girl," and it's just like that's it. That's just the line. He like yells at a baby at a grocery store, and that's the end of the scene.
So anyway, the point of this video was to say why we're not watching Velma, to jump on the clickbait train of stating we're not watching Velma, and we haven't watched Velma episode 1. Although I'm thinking Hassan watched a little bit more than he. Maybe you've just seen all the clips and you've seen it all.
I've seen clips on Twitter and I read character descriptions, and I might end up watching it illegally so I can talk about it in more in depth. Like I want to pull out receipts and pull out other shows, do like a commentary on Mindy Kaling and stuff on that.
Yeah.
So
I just find that the problem I have with the show is it could have been something interesting, but it feels like they just hated their fan base. They hated the material they were working with. And instead of at least like hiding it like some places do, like the Halo show hid the fact the guy didn't like Halo. Resident Evil didn't hide it at all. And then the Velma show is just like, no, we hate it, and we're going to make sure you know we hate Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
So then my question is, like, once again, who's this for? You're making a Scooby-Doo show that's not for Scooby-Doo fans. It's not for adult animation fans, because apparently the jokes are terrible. So who is this for?
It wasn't, and that's the thing. It was never for Scooby-Doo fans. It was the only way they were going to get this greenlit was to put Scooby-Doo on it, because we're in a nostalgia run right now. We're in a place where we're bringing back properties to massive success or massive failure, and they're like, the only way for us to bring this up is going to be to throw in a little Scooby-Doo, little Scooby snacks, and it's terrible. Nobody asked for it.
This is a show, and I think we're into a disturbing trend of these kinds of shows, and I'm so excited that we get to make a video that's adding to the pollution, but also that like someone's gonna be like, yeah, I'm hate watching like all these videos, people being like it's woke and trash, and then they're gonna get to our video and go like, what is up with these like. What is up with their subtlety and nuances and actually not mentioning any kind of virtue signaling whatsoever? Like, what the hell? But it's a disturbing trend that I found, which is the Halo show is guilty of it. Witcher's guilty of it. These shows are not for anybody except for the writers and the people who work on it. Yeah. Where it's like, hey, we're in a real like drought right now for writers and producers. Like, we need to be able to make shows, but the only shows people are making are shows about things I couldn't care less about. Right. And so what we'll do I got it. We're gonna say we're really big fans of this thing, and and that'll get us in the door, and then we'll turn the show into the thing I want to be working on right now.
Right.
And so it's like it becomes a show for no one but the people working on the show.
Yeah. Because they want to do their own science fiction project. Like, I watched Elvis the Aliens retrospective on the Resident Evil show to see what it was finally about.
Right.
He's another YouTuber that watches bad movies and stuff like that.
It just Elvis the Alien really threw me off. It's a great name.
Yeah, I was like,
I love it.
So I watched this video on the Resident Evil TV show just to see what the show was about, because I wasn't going to waste 9 hours watching it. And he did like a 45-minute, here's what it's about thing. And I'm like, cool, let me see what this is actually about. The Resident Evil show is the T-Virus and Umbrella are the only things that recognize. Wesker's a clone of himself, so that's their excuse for him not being Wesker. Like, they had the two daughters so they could do a CW thing. It was just terrible. Like, this isn't Resident Evil. What are you doing?
Right. And they're like, I don't know. I just needed a job.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want a gap in my resume. When I get to the show I want to make.
Potentially a really funny, talented creative team at one point could have brought up an awesome Scooby-Doo prequel. Yeah. That sounds like a fun idea. Make it for us. Make it that, and then make, like, for some reason when Scooby-Doo gets introduced, like at the very end of the show, they can't cuss anymore. All of a sudden it becomes G-rated. Like, what's happening? The dog, it's taking away the whatever. And then it's like, that's the bit. Great.
Right.
Now make it a kid's cartoon.
That could have been good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like last season, you have Shaggy find a dog. Boom. Yep. That's it. That's all you need to do. He finds a puppy, and then we lean into it, and then it implies an ending.
Right.
So, all right, I don't think there's much more we can say here other than what I've said 100 times. If you don't like a comic book, you don't like a video game, you don't like a TV show, don't engage with it. Don't talk about it. Don't watch it. Like, this is the most I'm going to do for Velma, is this one video, because people are asking, are you going to talk about Velma? So, yes, I'm talking about Velma and how that I'm not going to engage with Velma. If Hassan legitimately watches Velma just to keep myself true and not lie to you, I will make Dan do the video with him. Dan's shaking his head from the back room. So if Hassan watches Velma and this channel's going to cover Velma, I will not lie to you. Dan and Hassan will do it.
Yeah.
Sal and I will keep true to our word. Do not engage.
Velma.
Do not engage with these properties.
Well, that's the thing. Like, that's the lesson, I think, because we talked about that a little bit at the beginning of the video. Just like, the show is a runaway success because both audiences that shouldn't watch it watched it.
And the fact is, you can argue every semantic about how, they're not really, they don't have that much competition or whatever. But the fact that they're promoting that to get more people to watch it means it did well enough that they're like, because if it tanked hardcore, they're not going to be making up facts for it.
Yeah, like they don't care that the Rotten Tomatoes score is 9%. What they care about is the amount of eyeballs that looked at the show for the length of the show. If
that's
that
what
is
people
still
don't understand.
all of you, then it's going to get season 2.
I've been saying this since the beginning. If you come out and you're like, I don't like this comic, this video game is trash. A great example, because I've been bringing up Last of Us, because Hassan and I are going to talk about it if you actually watched it. But Okay, we're gonna do it Thursday then. But the thing I keep bringing up is like, okay, Last of Us 2 won awards, also got shit on like crazy by a bunch of people, but it sold record-breaking numbers, which means all the haters bought it. They don't care that you don't like it. They don't care that you go to Twitter to rant about it. They don't care that you're nitpicking the little jokes in Velma. Yeah. Velma has had so many watchers, they want to promote it. Okay? Because honestly, if no one was talking about Velma, this would have turned into Young Justice. It would have come out and no one would have mentioned it.
Okay, that's true.
No.
That's what happened.
It would have been like a Jellystone.
Jellystone.
Thank you. That's a better comparison, Benny. Stop dragging my love in the mud like this.
My point is, I just named 4 other adult shows on here, and other than Harley Quinn and Young Justice, which had to be reminded to me by Hassan, I didn't know Jellystone existed, the Adventure Time shows existed, none of this stuff.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Velma would have been the exact same thing, and you never would have heard about it if the internet was not shitting on it. Morbius wouldn't have come back into the theaters if you all shut the hell up about it. Like,
right?
Upside is the show. It's social media, right? It was a social media trend to watch and care about Velma, and it's not a popular show that people are interested in. They've said all they want to say. No one's going to watch it next week, and no one's going to talk about it the week after, and then the show will immediately diminish in viewership. It might have the greatest singular drop-off in a television premiere to second episode in the history of streaming or just television in general. That's a bold statement, but it honestly could have that percentage.
It could.
The only people who actually like make money off of this show are the ones who are going to watch it. Like, because everyone else is just going to go, okay, so I saw the first episode and it was horrible, and I can't speak to that. I don't know if it was horrible because I never saw it, but I would never watch it, so it doesn't matter. But like, let's say that you hate watched it. You're like, oh man, the YouTubers I like were right. That sucks. They're never going to watch another episode. They're going to watch the YouTubers who watched that episode.
Voice Critical said he's going to do it weekly, so I'm going to see what he says. I'll take the bullet for you weekly. I'm like, all right, you tell me how it is, man.
Oh man,
I'm not watching that.
No.
All right. Anyway, that's the end of this discussion here. We can go into more. Hassan brought up a lot of good points. I'm actually maybe curious about him watching Velma and Dan talking to him about it. Yeah. Dan's still shaking his head.
Put me through pain, torture, whatever. I'll figure it out. But
we made you watch The Flash. Maybe we'll make you watch Velma.
I'm excited about The Flash now. We're moving on.
Oh, I'm excited about The Flash too. But anyway, let's go ahead and end this episode. Don't forget to check out our sponsor, Gamer Subs today. Get yourself a waifu cup or get yourself some energy drink. And we'll see you next time right here at Absolutely Marvel DC.